I've been playing Ghost HQ a lot recently, and I've been really enjoying the visual aesthetic. So I sort of felt like I needed to jump straight in and create or recreate one of the UI elements. And for me, the thing that immediately jumped out was this select mission button. Now it wasn't too obvious exactly how the button functioned, but after being sort of inquisitive enough to tap it and be transferred into the map part of the game and selecting your mission and then coming back out, it sort of occurred to me how sort of involved the button was and the different states required. I'm just showing the screen from the game, and as you can sort of see, what we're going to be creating or recreating are some of these subtle motions that appear. And for me, it's these micro interactions and the use of tweening that really brings, that level of polish that sort of catches your attention. To be honest, I'm not always sure how noticeable it is for, the average gamer. And I know that I kind of look at UI from a UI perspective, or I look at a game from a UI perspective, and I'm always observing and always studying. And I guess I encourage you to sort of take up that critical eye as well of, trying to find UI that really sort of inspires you, because if you can find that, then that kind of gives you a really useful steer in the direction of where you want to be in the industry, or what you want to be creating if you're a freelancer. So as you can see, recreating the base style for this button was relatively straightforward, and it's all stuff that I've covered in previous videos. I'm right now taking a look at the noise and texture plugin, which I think is just a massive godsend to Figma. So if you've used it or not used it, I massively encourage you to check it out. And if you have a means to do so, obviously please, I encourage you to support the developer who's created it. One of the things that I love about the noise and texture plugin is that if you don't set the settings that you want straight away, you can go back in, and although it looks like it's just an image texture, it's actually still live. So if you go back through the plugin, you can customize those horizontal lines, which was something that I didn't realize up until recently when I was doing this tutorial. When I started taking a closer look at how this button style was created and how many sort of elements that appeared to sort of create the overall look, I started to realize just how many bits and bobs we needed to sort of capture within it. And I guess what I was sort of thinking was, are there some elements here on this button that are probably not really needed? That could simplify the style a little bit and make it look a little bit cleaner. And one thing that initially stood out to me was the horizontal lines that we can see. Relatively small on device, and the lines are maybe a pixel to 2 pixels high, and that doesn't always translate too well to mobile. So even though it's cool to have them and to see them zoomed in like this, it's not always going to be contributing a massive amount to the overall look and feel of the UI. So sometimes with these elements, there is a risk that you can throw too much at them, which don't really sort of elevate the design any further than it would have if you'd, say, kept the horizontal lines off in this case. So something to think about. The risk is over-engineering the style of this one element. One of the things that I really liked about the UI that we saw in a video a minute ago was the use of the God rays, which is what I'm creating here. These are relatively straightforward to create. just a series of rectangles and utilizing union Boolean operations and flattening them out, stuff like that, and adding a gradient. But it really comes to life when you animate them. Now, for me, up until I say recently, I hadn't really needed to animate my prototypes in such a way within Figma. But having been inspired by Ghost HQ and also a game that I was working on recently, I decided to give it a try, and creating a seamless rotation wasn't immediately clear at all for me. So that was a tiny bit of a learning curve, really, and as you can sort of see, the looping aspect wasn't quite right. And I was making the mistake of changing the rotation on the Figma variant that we created itself, whereas you actually needed to rotate the object inside the variant in order for it to properly register. And then I was scratching my head on how we could sort of slow things down without breaking it in the video. But it was relatively straightforward, actually, just increasing the duration of each transition. But all in all, I was able to create the effects that they had in their implemented version of their UI with relatively low effort. And as we can see, it's moving quite nicely. And so the next step was to revisit the old head scratcher, which was seamless scrolling between variants. And I'll link a video that I created that goes into working out how it worked in a little bit more depth. You should see that on the screen. And if you're interested in it, give it a try and have a play. It was really quite interesting on how I managed to get it working, and couldn't really find anything online that sort of cleared it up for me. So with this one, once again, the diagonal lines and stuff with the god rays animating around, these are a lot of levels of polish that really contribute to the overall look and feel of these UI elements, and cohesively all of the elements as they sit together on the screen. And I was thinking, you obviously don't want to make everything have these types of micro interactions or levels of tweening, because the more you add to the screen, the more you take away from the important elements. So in this case, they consider the key element to be, getting into that core loop, playing the game and having a bit of fun with the actual gameplay, not just the UI. So they added all of these, I'm assuming they added all of these, little animations and things to draw your attention to it. And for me, it definitely did that. So it's something to consider when you're working on one of your projects is, what is the most important UI element on the screen? And how can you utilize the tools available to, bring attention to those parts of the screen that might otherwise be, quite cluttered. And so utilizing Figma variants throughout most of this exploration of Ghost HQ, I tried to simulate random particles, and the particles were the stars, as we can see, 4-point stars, and having them do some tweening between states and maybe adding them sporadically around the button. But that was kind of where I appeared to meet a limitation within Figma. Changing or creating randomness in a particle form, which would be really easy to produce in the game engine, was actually quite hard. So I had to sort of settle for the limitations, but I did feel like we got close enough to be able to sort of sell the idea, really. And the overall effect was yeah, fine. It looked nice enough for what we needed. And when you get these concepts down, so the idea of rotating things seamlessly or moving things seamlessly, you begin to sort of realize how useful they can actually be when trying to add a little bit of life to your otherwise sort of like static concepts. And one of the cool things about it is they're all handled off the concept and, you know, in the variant master and or the component, and that's just really useful. So that was it essentially. We covered quite a lot of ground. We managed to create the visual style of the button. We broke down and understood how we can create tweening and motion, you know, to bring our prototype to life and to learn things and have a little bit of fun with it as well. So I encourage you to try some of these techniques out in your future prototypes, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and let me know in the comments. See you soon.